Hello, my ninjas. This guide will show you how to use the Fire Shuriken and the Pinwheel Shuriken. The Fire Shuriken reads, these throwing stars burst into flame upon impact, inflicting additional damage to their target, while the Pinwheel Shuriken reads, when thrown, these weapons damage enemies before returning to your hand. They deal high damage and make it easy to attack several enemies at once. Both of these effectively serve an equal same purpose, so I'm coupling them in a single video, with the main differences being jutsu cost, with the Fire Shuriken being a 1.7 and the Pinwheel being 1.5, the total amount preparable regardless of the jutsu cost, with the Fire Shuriken having 6 total and the Pinwheel Shuriken having 10 total, the damage, with the Pinwheel Shuriken dealing the most damage out of all Shuriken on hit. However, the Fire Shuriken having the capacity to deal more damage if the enemy is inflicted with the Scorch status. The status effects, with the Fire Shuriken, of course, as mentioned, having the ability to inflict Scorched, while the Pinwheel Shuriken not having any elemental affinity. And then what type of enemy that these are best used against. The Fire Shuriken has the same relatively fast casting animation as the Poison and Paralysis Shuriken, as while they are affected by the Shuriken shooter skill, they are affected less so, as they cast noticeably slower than and will reset after the 2 casts, unlike the regular Shuriken Kunai and Storm Kunai's constant chain. They also fly in an infinitely linear direction like all other Shuriken, while the Pinwheel Shuriken has an extremely limited range and is on the slower end of the medium casting jutsu animations. These can be cast when the player is out of key. However, due to the jutsu cost and the lack of the amount total preparable, this is not a recommended way of using these jutsu. While these can be used in all the ways that the regular Shuriken and Kunai were mentioned in their videos, the distinction of what these are for is to be used as an effective way of closing distance between the player and the opponent. The Fire Shuriken is a single target use jutsu that will stick to the opponent after staggering them on impact and then wait a timed amount until it explodes and staggers the opponent again. These can be used by waiting the proper amount of time. They can prevent the opponent from attacking before the explosion goes off. These are also very useful against opponents who block, as it can set up the player's ability to use active skills that have high break attack damage. The Pinwheel Shuriken is a multi-target hitting jutsu that can go through opponents, hit multiple enemies, and the trajectory of the return of the Pinwheel Shuriken can be adjusted with the angle of the player. The Pinwheel Shuriken are best used against enemies that attempt to dodge. As you can see, I was able to align myself and the enemy with the return trajectory of the Pinwheel Shuriken and still hit Hayabusa even though he dodged the initial cast.